Hi, I'm Charlotte, and this is a video about using Infusionsoft. I'm just going to share my screen with you, so I'm going to guide you through how to build a sequence and what to do with that sequence in terms of marketing. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is go to Infusionsoft. That changed its name to Keap in about 2019. But you should still be able to find it. But search for Keap or Infusionsoft. First off, you need to log in. Details for this are found in agency codes. Be mindful that the password changes every 90 days, so make sure that you update the password in agency codes so that everyone can gain access to it. Once you enter Infusionsoft, you want to select this first option here in green, which is our main account. Okay, so today I'm going to build a real life sequence that we're using for charlieredding.com. In this sequence, when people go to the website, they will be able to watch a video as part of the Better Future framework. This is a series of videos that are paid for. The first video is free. After that, people need to pay a monthly amount. The idea behind this sequence is to target the people who haven't signed up to pay so that we can encourage them to take up the offer and reveal the rest of the videos. The content I want to use for this sequence will be various emails. The first one asking them how they found the first video and giving them the offer of signing up. From that point onwards, I'll also be sending them bi-weekly emails showing them the different benefits of using the videos, the different tools we have available, and providing them with useful content with the aim of encouraging them to sign up in the future. So to build a sequence on Infusionsoft, the first thing you need to do is create a tag for the group of people who'll be using this sequence. To do that, go to Contacts, go to View Contacts. Now, I would recommend that you set yourself up as a contact on Infusionsoft. It's the easiest way to apply a tag, and it also means that you will receive all of the email sequences that you create. The reason for that is, firstly, you can make sure that they are working, and secondly, if there is a mistake, an error, something that needs amending, because you're receiving them, you'll be able to very easily pick that up. So I'm going to search for myself. So if you go into the last name field and type your surname, feel free to use mine, but I do think it's better to create your own. I'm going to click on this first one here. So this is my work email. And you'll see it's effectively a database. It's got the name, it's got telephone numbers, and most importantly, it's got an email address. What you need to do is scroll down to the section called tags. You'll see here I've got a lot of different tags. I've got 53 in total at the moment, and that is ever growing. If you click Manage Tags, you'll see a list of all the tags that are associated with the contact, in this case mine. If you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a section here called Create Tag, and this is what we need to do. So click on Create Tag. So this sequence is for the non-payers for the BAFF. There's no right or wrong what to label the tag, but I would always try to put it as something that is obvious to everyone, and something that is memorable and something that's easily identifiable. There's no point having a cryptic tag such as 1, 2, 3, 4 ABC, because realistically, if you're creating various tags every single week, it won't be long before you've got hundreds of them and you won't have a clue what 1, 2, 3 ABC actually means. So for the purpose of this sequence, I'm going to call this tag non-payers BFF. So that easily relates to the people who I'm targeting, the non-payers, in relation to the Better Future framework. If you come down to the next bit, category, there are various categories that we've created. You can create more if you want to. I feel that there's probably enough tags here, but feel free to create a different category if you need to by adding new category. What I would do for this is call it an AMD, which is an attraction marketing device. An attraction marketing device is something that you might click on a website, for example, download this free book, register here for a webinar, click here to receive a report. It's something that helps us gather details, and it's something that we're giving back in return to the person who's clicked that link, which we very much are in this case. So I'm happy to call that an attraction marketing device. Once I put the title in and the category, click to create and apply this tag. If you scroll to the top of the list now, you'll see that this tag has now been associated with my account. Make sure that you save at the bottom. And then that's all done. You'll know that it's all done because it will tell you at the top. If there's an error message, it will notify you. Now the tag's created, we can actually go into making the sequence. This is the real body of this video and the body of the work that we're going to do today. To create a sequence, you need to click on the 3 lines here. And you'll see that there are different categories. There's CRM, which is your contacts, any integrations that you've got, the status of leads and so forth. You've got marketing, you've got e-commerce, and you've got admin. In future videos, I will show you what these sections mean. But for today's video, we're looking at marketing. And we're looking to build a campaign, which is called Campaign Builder. So click that. This will take you into the overview page, and what you'll see here is all of the different campaigns that we've got running. Some of them are old, some of them are in motion. Unless you know for certain that a campaign is completely redundant, don't delete them. It may be that there are residual people still in that campaign, and if you delete it, your hard work will be completely undone. So just leave them in there. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you the quickest way to create a campaign. I'm also going to show you how to create a campaign from scratch, which we will do first. Creating a campaign from scratch is not that much more difficult than creating a duplicate campaign, but it's important that you know how to do it. So what I'm going to do is create my own campaign, which is a brand new campaign. You see at the moment that it's untitled and it has no category. You need to label these campaigns. As you saw, there's quite an extensive list of them. And if you don't create a title, you will struggle to find it. So just like the tag, I'm going to call this non-payer BFF. And the category, for this category, just leave it as create new category. And we're going to call this one charlieredding.com because it's from his website. Add that category in. And that's saved that for you. So just save that. Infusionsoft campaigns are very much a blank template for you, and it's a piece of building in that. There are various ways and various different campaigns that you can do. For the purpose of this one, what we are looking to achieve is collecting data from people who've not signed up. Now, this data will be given to us by our web developer, so it's very much a manual process. If we were building a campaign, for example, where someone is going onto the website and inserting their details, and those details are coming straight into Infusionsoft, we would do this slightly differently, and I will show you how to do that as well. But for this one, this campaign, the web developer is going to send me the data. So the start of my campaign is to apply a tag. So I literally just drag that across. You need to double click into it and you need to select your tag. Now we called this non-payer BFF and we save that. When we get the data from the web developer, what we're going to do is put that into Infusionsoft and apply the non-payer BFF tag to all of those contacts. What that will mean is as soon as the tag is applied to their name, they are automatically fed into this sequence. What I want to do now is once that tag is applied, which is very much the start of the campaign, is to put the recipients into a sequence. So you drag that to there. We need to join these up. So you'll see there's an arrow. Just drag that arrow across and it will feed into that for you. You'll notice here that it says setup required and that's the next step. So double click on setup required and this will take you to a brand new section of the sequence. All sequences will start with a start and then you can elect what happens after that point. For this sequence, it's a relatively straightforward sequence in that we are literally sending a series of emails. What we want to do is send people who've not signed up an email as soon as possible. So I'm not going to put any sort of delay or date timer in there. I just want to send them an email directly. I generally tend to use email legacy because the template has been built, but you can use the standard email if you want to create something slightly different. So we double click into that again. And you'll see that we've got the legacy template. Now, actually, for me, this legacy template is not what I want. So rather than trying to redo it, I'm going to come out of that. I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to use a blank email. Here, if you go to my templates, you'll see all of the emails that we have sent. And actually, for this purpose, this template is far more useful than the legacy one. So I'm going to use this template here. You can completely amend these templates. You don't have to use the text that's involved. You don't have to use the images. It can be anything. Rather than write this in front of you, I'm just going to talk you through it. There are different stages to this email that need to be completed to make it work. First of all, you need to make sure that you have a title. And it could be "thank you" as the title. The next bit, you need to have a title on the main invitation. This should reflect what you've put as your subject, really, the subject title, so that the two are joined up. This helps to make the email look more legitimate, and it also helps with spam feed filters. So let's put "thank you" as the title there. Moving down here, you have the image. You can have whatever image you want. You can have one of the images that have been previously uploaded, or you can browse on the computer and have a look at whatever picture you might want to add in there. For the sake of this, we're talking a lot about Charlie's new book and the features on his website. So let's go with his latest book, Entrepreneurial Happiness, as the picture. You can see here that's quite big, so you can change the size using this sliding bar here. Next, you come into the email. A lot of the content obviously needs to be written. What I would recommend doing is writing this out in Word before you put it into Infusionsoft. I find with Infusionsoft, it's got Americanized autocorrect on it. and you might not necessarily want that. So if you write it in Word, you can be sure that your grammar, spelling, punctuation is all correct and that you're happy with the copy. And then you literally can copy and paste that in. I haven't written any copy for this at the moment, but for an example, I'm just going to pinch a line of text from a Word document, and you literally Control-C, put it back in the document, Control-V, and there you go, the text is in there as you would want it. You can, of course, change the colour, change the different type of text, whether it's bold, italic, underlined, the layout on the page, bulleted numbers, and bullet points. You can also add in links. If you click on this link symbol here, and it can be a link to a URL, an email, web form, order form, a file download, etc. You also want to make sure that you are personalizing your emails as much as possible. To do that, very similar to a mail merge, so please see the unique method on mail merges, but it's the same principle. These are called merge contact fields. So if you highlight the area that you want it in and you click merge, you can see that there are different options. So there's contact fields, first name, last name, email, etc. You've also got additional fields here. It might be username, anything slightly unusual. It might be a billing address. It might be a shipping address. It could be all sorts of things. Realistically, if you're sending a personalized email, it's always going to be dear first name or dear Mr., Mrs., Miss, Ms, whatever. That's generally what it's going to be though. So that would be in merge contact field, most common. So once you've put together your email, you've got your merge field in, you've got the sign off from Charlie, you've got the unsubscribe link at the bottom, which will automatically put in, and you're happy with how the email looks, you need to preview it just to be sure. And this will give you a preview on a tablet and a mobile phone. So just have a look through. Evidently, I would not send an email just with one line like this, but your emails will look a lot better. If you're happy with how it's presented and that it looks okay, you can come out of that. But before you leave this, the important thing is to turn it from a draft to make it ready. To get back to your sequence, click your arrow. You can change the email title to initial email or whatever you feel fit. And then that first email is in your sequence. This sequence could be used straight away. If you put data in, what would happen is you would put the data in, apply the tag, and that person or group of people would receive that initial thank you email, and that would be it. And for some sequences, that might be absolutely fine. If you're just sending confirmation, for example, that sequence might be sufficient. For this, though, I mentioned at the beginning that we're looking to nurture the client and we're trying to encourage them to buy. So we're going to want lots of different emails going out to them. What we need to make sure, though, is that we're not sending these emails every single hour, every single day, but we're not sending multiple emails on the same day. So we need to stagger them. The way in which you do that is by using timers. Now, if you had a campaign where you were uploading every single piece of data on the same day, and you knew that these people were going through the sequence at the exact same time, you might want to use a date timer. For example, if I was sending a link to the newsletter page every single month, I might say, I want that link to be sent on the 1st of the month for the next 5 years. And I could do that using the date timer. However, for this sequence, people are going to come in dribs and drabs. No one is going to be going through the sequences at the same time as someone else. So we need to just have it a little bit more vague. So what I would do to achieve that is use the delay timer. So again, drag that across. Make sure you click the arrow. and then click into the date timer, the delay timer. Now, I think that sending an email every 2 weeks for the first couple of months is okay. We want to make sure that we're still on their radar, but equally we don't want to annoy them. It might be more suitable to do it once a week for the first month, but that is very much led on the nature of the campaign and the nature of the audience. The nature of this audience is that they don't really know us. They will have watched a video, they will have been on our website, so they're not a complete cold lead, but equally we want to try and build up a good image of the company and nurture the relationship and not scare them away too soon. For those reasons, I think 2 weeks is about right. So on that basis, I want 14 days. I want to send it on a weekday. I wouldn't send this necessarily on a weekend. We are a 9-to-5 business, and I think it looks more professional for us to send emails on weekdays. I also don't mind what time it goes, so I can click anytime, or I might say it needs to go on a specific time, or I might actually say that it's better to use a between time. For this, I'm going to say if it sends at 10 a.m. every day in their time zone, which is important, I think that that is absolutely fine. So I would click save. What we now need to do is add to that sequence. So we're going to add in another email. The email I created here, I was happy with. So what I might do is right click it, duplicate it, and drag it across. I still need to go into that email to amend the text, but I know that that's the right template and that it's going to work for what I need it to. You could also do drag blank email across using one of the existing templates. You can use the legacy. Again, there is no right or wrong with that. For me personally, I find duplicating it slightly quicker and easier, especially if a sequence of emails is going in the exact same format. Again, once you've got that email, you need to go into it and repeat the process, add the copy in, make sure that the images are correct, and remember to set it live. You can repeat this for as many emails as you need. Just remember to keep adding in the date timer and the email. With the date timer, you can duplicate that as well, like so. Remember to join them up. You will need to just check that it's okay and save it, otherwise it won't automatically run for you. So you just repeat that until you've got everything that you need. You'll notice that the arrows go a bit wobbly. I tend to do it in a sequence, so running from left to right across the top, then right to left underneath, and so forth. The reason I do that rather than in one linear line is purely because it all fits on my screen. Please do whatever works for you. Just to show you how it works, if I were to move that there, you see the arrows follow me around. If I wanted to put an email here, what I'd need to do is get this arrow and drag it there, and it does it for you. It's quite intuitive in that sense, and once you get the hang of it, it's very straightforward. Okay, so let's say, for example, that I was now happy with this sequence and it was ready to go. I'd checked it, I'd tested it on myself, and I'm more than happy that the copy's correct and so forth. What you then need to do is click up here again to ready and go back to the main page. Once you're happy that that is all correct, you click publish and there will be a checklist for you. So on this checklist, all the elements are marked as ready, all the campaign elements are connected, we've specified the frequency of delivery, the emails are personalized, the merge fields are valid, and the campaign passes its functional inspection. This is done automatically for you by Infusionsoft or Keap. If there was a problem, it would tell you, and you need to go back in and make sure that those issues are fixed. It won't let you publish until the fundamental elements are correct. So you can't publish a campaign that's not going to work, basically. So it's idiot-proof in some senses. Once you're happy with it, you just click publish and away you go. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that this campaign, we're being given the data to manually input. There may be some campaigns whereby you have a web form. This is very similar, but it's slightly more complicated. What I mean by a web form is, if we look at the Efficient Portfolio website, we've got various forms on our own website that require people to sign up for things. As an example of this, if we have a look at Friday Footnotes, that is a good example. To show you what a web form is. This is the form. So we have name, phone number, email, and a subscribe button. And that's what the visitor to the website sees. That form is actually in here. Evidently, this is not what you would see on a website, but this is the behind the scenes techie part. How I got this on the website, this form is a plugin on WordPress. And when you set it up, you need to use a code that ties the two together. The web developer will do that for you, but you will need to send them the code. To get that code, there are several ways you can do it. You can have a WordPress opt-in form that automatically syncs via an API link. I sometimes find that that can be a little bit problematic. So I often elect for just the web form. So drag it across. Now, this web form is obviously the start of the sequence. We can't get the data in before we have the details captured on the web form. So you double click onto the web form. And you'll see at the moment it has first name and email as standard. That might be sufficient. However, I actually would quite like their last name and I'd quite like their telephone number. So in order to get that, if you go to field snippets, and you'll see all of the different options that you've got. So I want a name, so I'm going to drag that there. Now for this one, I actually want the last name, so we select the one we want. Got their email. I also want their telephone, and that goes in there. Okay. Now you notice when I did that, you might have seen the required field. That's completely optional. I would say that first name and email are never optional. Last name and phone number can be. It does depend on the type of campaign you're running though. If you need a phone number for confirmation calls, you must make it mandatory. If it's for them to receive an electronic newsletter, it's not. So just use your common sense. As a general rule with GDPR, we shouldn't be collecting information that we don't need to. So that is a good guide to go by. But you do need to just determine whether or not we will need that information or not. And also ask yourself, if you were filling in this form, would you be comfortable providing that level of detail? Okay, so now we've got the fields. We've got everything that we need to capture. We can then create a thank you page. Now this is already pre-done, but you can change the images, you can change the text, whatever you want to do on there, just put in a relevant thank you page. What I would always say is on the thank you page, make sure that you also include a button that takes them back to the website. To do that, insert a picture of a button, select the picture and link it, and put the URL to the page that you want to send them back to on there. So let's imagine that I've written the thank you that I want there. What I now need to do is tie this web form into the web form that's going to be on the website. To do that, I go to code, I go to HTML code unstyled, and it brings up this rather complicated field. What we need to do is take the text from where it says form at the beginning to where it says form at the end. So you just highlight it and make sure you highlight it all, because it is all important. And you'll see here, there's form there. So I just want to copy that, and then I would send that to the web developer. And they will know what to do with that. You don't want this JavaScript at the bottom. You don't need that. You just need the form text. Once you've done that, again, you can set it live. Make sure you connect it to the rest of the sequence. And then you are ready to go. Okay, so that is a bit of a brief overview of Infusionsoft, but I hope that you found that beneficial. There are lots of other videos about Infusionsoft on YouTube, so please use those to the best of your ability. And there are also videos on Infusionsoft itself. I hope you found that helpful, and thanks for listening.